Pretty much every player's career has its ups and downs. Not every footballer is capable of overcoming pressure and difficulties to return even stronger, but of course there are some, the likes of Wesley Sneijder, Diego Forlán and many others. In this video by Goal24 we would like to tell you about them, those who found strength to silence all critics and prove themselves worthy during this season. So here's today's top 10, get ready for watching! But before we begin, we'd like to ask you a question. This player, the Euro champion and one of the most prolific scorers of our time, has had quite an interesting career. After he had proven himself as a top striker in Italy, he played in Germany and Spain, but really struggled in both foreign leagues. Only when he returned to Serie A he started scoring goals as if with ease again and won the Golden Shoe. Who are we talking about? Write your answers in the comments. Dejan Kulusevski. After an impressive season on loan at Parma, 10 goals and 10 assists, the Swede got back to Juventus as he was a part of Andrea Pirlo's plans. But Dejan's time at Juventus is best described as a disaster. He was literally useless on the pitch, though we must also mention that the whole team was having the worst time in a decade or so. Dejan finished his first season for Juve with 3 goals, and next season it got even worse. The new coach, Massimiliano Allegri, had no place for the Swede in his squad, so Dejan was transfer listed. And Tottenham came for him, as Antonio Conte wanted to sign the Swede for Inter back in 2019, but Juve's bid was way more lucrative. So Dejan moved to Tottenham on loan for a season and a half. There's also a buyout clause of 35 million euros. And once Kulusevski came to London, he seemed completely a different player. Game after game he was playing solid football and fit Conte's system like a glove. Since Dejan joined Tottenham, he's had 13 goal contributions, which is an incredible result for a 22-year-old Premier League newcomer. The Swede ended up being what the team needed, the one to complete the attacking trio alongside Kane and Son. The team's results have a lot to do with Dejan's impact, the results that have secured them top 4 finish for Tottenham. Please like this video, subscribe to our channel and hit the bell button to turn on notifications. Tammy Abraham. In his first season at Chelsea, the English youngster scored 15 goals. It was a really unexpected result, and it looked like just the beginning of an impressive career. After all, even Marcus Rashford failed to score that many in his first 4 seasons at Man United. But in summer 2020, 2 new strikers were signed, Kai Havertz and Timo Werner. And of course they had to play, so Abraham had to be benched. Neither of the 2 newcomers was prolific enough, so Tammy was coming in as a sub and scoring goals from time to time. But things got worse when Thomas Tuchel took over. The new coach didn't let Tammy play even as a sub, as the Englishman didn't feed the Germans football. After Chelsea won the Champions League and the UEFA Super Cup, Tammy left the club. Despite the interest from Arsenal, Jose Mourinho did his best to persuade the player to accept the Roma offer, so Tammy changed the English reign for the Italian son. It took Tammy 3 games to find an ad for his new club. It took time, but eventually the striker became one of the team leaders and scored 27 goals in all competitions, 17 in Serie A, 1 in Coppa Italia and 9 in the Conference League. That made Abraham the best English goalscorer in the top 5 leagues, and what is more, only 3 players ever scored more in their debut season at Roma: Manfredini, Volk and Batistuta. Such a season made the English big clubs consider bringing the striker back to the Premier League. Arsenal and Manchester United are willing to sign the player, but Mourinho is too reluctant to let his striker go unless there's a 100 million euros bid. But still it seems more like a matter of time, as Tammy stated in his review to Alan Shearer that he's determined to follow in Salah's and De Bruyne's footsteps to prove the Chelsea board wrong. Christian Eriksen. Christian's sudden cardiac arrest during the Euro game came as a shock to all the football world. The player's life was hanging on a thread, though due to the medic's efforts he survived. His future, however, was uncertain, as he could play football again only with an ICD, implanted cardioverter defibrillator, and its usage is forbidden by the Serie A rules, so Inter was forced to terminate Christian's contract by mutual agreement. To be honest, Eriksen was never at his best in Italy, and he was approaching 30, so it was believed that it was going to be the end of the Dane's playing career. but the player himself didn't want to give up and was determined to show everybody what he's made of. And of all the leagues in the world, he picked the Premier League and got back to London. Brentford was Christian's new club. He had already known the coach Thomas Frank, who was once the Denmark youth coach. It took Eriksen a long time to get back into shape as he had to wait for 2 months to make a debut for his new team. But in the end he became a first-team player, made an assist in his 3rd game and then scored 2 goals in 2 matches for his national team. When Eriksen was back at the club, he scored against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. The game ended 4-1 in favor of Brentford. Eriksen's performance is one of the reasons for Brentford's decent run of form at the end of the season. He scored 1 goal and made 4 assists in the Premier League, and now there's interest from Manchester United and Christian's old club Tottenham. But the decision has already been made. Eriksen is staying at Brentford for another season, as a sign of his huge respect for the club. Geoffrey Kondogbia. 10 years ago, this player was considered one of the most promising French midfielders along with Paul Pogba. While Geoffrey was playing for Sevilla, the biggest clubs were keeping an eye on him, but then he changed a number of clubs, Monaco, Inter, Valencia, but never lived up to his full potential. In 2020, Kondogbia joined Atletico as Diego Simeone was in need of a player of his kind. Though Atletico won La Liga, there was nothing special about Geoffrey's performance, and it looked like yet another wasted chance for the midfielder. But this season, all of a sudden, Geoffrey made a big step forward at last. He's made it into the first 11 and is the best player in La Liga in terms of interceptions. He won the ball back for his team 163 times in 1,613 minutes. So yes, Kondogbia makes an interception every 9 minutes. The Champions League game against Manchester City in the quarterfinal was probably his best this season. Geoffrey was dominating the midfield with his work rate and commitment. However, it was not enough to get past Man City, but that game was without a doubt a perfect display of the midfielder's quality. We'll see if Geoffrey manages to build on that and shows us another season of that kind. Patrick Schick. After a bad spell in Rome, Patrick Schick moved to the Bundesliga and started regaining his form, first at Leipzig and then at Bayer Leverkusen. The club signed him as a replacement for Kai Havertz. Patrick's first season at the club was pretty mediocre, only 9 goals in the Bundesliga. But Euro 2020 changed everything, as Schick was among the tournament's biggest stars with 5 goals and 5 matches, and lost the golden shoe to Ronaldo only due to 1 assist the Portuguese had. But still, the Czech striker did win an individual award, as his goal against Scotland was named the best goal of the tournament. And it was just the beginning of the striker's run of form, as by January he scored 17 goals in the Bundesliga. And of course, he was noticed by big clubs, as Patrick's 24 goals is the second best result in the Bundesliga. Only Lewandowski scored more. By the way, should Robert leave for Barcelona, Schick would be the first choice replacement for the Pole. The Bayer board, however, has already stated that their striker is not for sale. Fernando Caro, the CEO, stated, "No, we will not sell Patrick Schick. There is no need to talk about that at all. We are very happy that he is with us and we firmly count on him for the next few years." Joao Cancelo. Portuguese fullback joined Manchester City in summer 2020 for €28 million plus Danilo. "I wasn't too happy with my move at first. I came from the club I loved with all my heart, but after I spoke to my grandfather, we decided that I should give it a try in England." These are Cancelo's words. And indeed, the fullback wasn't at his best during his first 2 seasons at City. He clearly lacked confidence and tactical awareness he had while at Inter or Juve, and was making mistakes one after another. And that is why he wasn't starting as many games as some may have expected. At the end of the season, Guardiola was starting Alexander Zinchenko ahead of Cancelo in the most important games. The Portuguese really didn't have much trust from the coach. But this season is where Cancelo started playing the way he should be playing, on the right and on the left. This season's stats for Cancelo are 1 goal and 7 assists in the Premier League, but his defensive performance should never be overlooked. This is what Guardiola said on his players' progress. At first, he was shocked with our club's demands. He was confused and we needed time to understand each other. The most incredible thing about his progress is that he literally became a different person. It did take time for Cancelo to adapt to City's playstyle. The player was used to playing as a classic fullback, while Guardiola wanted him to play very narrow and move towards the center mid position. Fortunately, now Cancelo can play in the way his coach wants him to and make a noticeable impact at both ends of the pitch. Ousmane Dembele. Another injury made the Frenchman miss the start of this season. When Ousmane was finally back, fans didn't really expect anything from him, as he was already considered finished. After he rejected the contract offer from Barcelona, a scandal emerged. Ousmane was reluctant to lower his salary and was reluctant to leave the team in winter either, as he wanted to get the €5 million remaining on his contract. There was a time when Xavi was about to demote the player into the B team, but eventually changed his mind and decided to give the winger one more chance. And that decision turned the €135 million disaster into a leading attacker. Since then, the Frenchman has provided 13 assists to his teammates, which is the best result in the top 5 leagues in 2022. Thanks to Ousmane's incredible form, Barcelona won 7 games in a row in La Liga from February to April and finished second, the result that seemed completely unrealistic in autumn. One of those games was El Clásico at Santiago Bernabéu. There was no stopping Dembele on the wing. He made 2 assists and Barcelona won 4-0. But despite all that, the player's contract is still about to end soon. PSG and Chelsea are the clubs willing to sign Dembele, and Chelsea seems the right choice, as it was Thomas Tuchel who managed Borussia Dortmund when Ousmane was having a form of his life. Whatever team the player picks, it's going to be interesting. How long will his current form last? Pierre Emerick Aubameyang. In his first 2 complete seasons for Arsenal, Pierre-Emerick scored 22 goals each season and once was named the best Premier League goal scorer. But last year, under Mikel Arteta, the striker's form dropped significantly. Aubameyang scored only 14 Premier League goals since autumn 2020. Then there became even more problems. In December, the captain's armband was taken away from the player due to his poor discipline. Pierre-Emerick asked for a day off to come to France to see his mother, who was ill. The club agreed, but Pierre-Emerick didn't return when he was meant to, and that was the final straw for Arteta. Aubameyang was not only demoted from his role as captain, but from the squad as well. And it was not the end. In January, before going to Cameroon for the African Cup of Nations, the footballer has spent a couple of days partying in Dubai and contracted COVID. He was later diagnosed with heart lesions and had to leave the national team and go back to London, but no one was waiting for him there. He was transfer listed, and on the deadline day, Barcelona came for Aubameyang. The clubs didn't have much time, and he wasn't certain if the clubs could agree on the deal before the end of the transfer window, but they did. Luckily for the player, Arsenal agreed to let him go for free. Even though Pierre-Emerick was Barca's second option, the first choice signing was Morata. He managed to shine for his new club right from the start and scored 13 goals in all competitions. 2 of them were against Real Madrid at Santiago Bernabéu. As a result, the 32-year-old striker became the 4th player in Barcelona's history after Romario, Ronaldo and Ibrahimovic to score 9 goals in the first 11 games. Kieran Trippier. In summer 2019, the Englishman left Tottenham to join Atletico Madrid to play under Diego Simeone. He wanted to see the player in his squad. While at Tottenham, Trippier was more of an attack-minded fullback. Simeone demanded more of him in defense, so despite being a consistent starter, Kieran was no more shining. Last season, he was banned by UEFA for 10 weeks for breaches of betting rules, which obviously was a huge blow to his reputation. However, he was back and won the league title as a first 11 player. But Kieran wanted to come back to England, and Manchester United was willing to sign him, but the money Atletico wanted for the player was too big. But it seems Trippier's return was just meant to happen. This January he was finally signed by Newcastle for €15 million. So at last Kieran started taking free kicks again, and he scored 2 in his first 4 games for the new club. He was what Newcastle needed, a real asset to the team both in defense and attack, a solid free-kick taker who brought the team confidence so much needed and helped them escape the relegation zone. In February, unfortunately, Trippier was injured for a long period of time and had to miss many matches, but still, the footballer has already reintroduced himself to the English fans, while his team managed to turn the tide as Newcastle only lost 5 games of the last 17, while they had already lost 10 matches before Trippier joined the team. Felipe Coutinho. Once the Brazilian left Liverpool for Barcelona in winter 2018, his career went downhill. One of the best midfielders in the Premier League ended up being a disaster in La Liga. He didn't fit Barca's tactics, and the injuries left him no chance. Even the loan spell at Bayern in the 2019-20 season failed to relaunch his career. Even though it brought him the Champions League trophy, Coutinho didn't have that much playing time while at Bayern. And when he was back, it was the same old story. Constant injuries and being of no use for the team. Even Xavi, the new coach, gave up on Coutinho and didn't see him in his squad. This winter, Barcelona was looking for a club to sell Coutinho to, and were on the verge of a despair once, but at the end of the transfer window, Aston Villa came with a loan offer. Coutinho was eager to reunite with his former Liverpool teammate and gladly accepted that offer. His debut was against Manchester United. His team was trailing 2-0, but Felipe came in as a sub and managed to ignite the game. In the 77th minute, he assisted Jacob Ramsey and then scored a goal to wrap up a comeback and give Villa a much-needed draw. This season starts for Coutinho, 5 goals and 3 assists in the Premier League. Don't tell the full story, how he fits the team and the coach. So Aston Villa had no choice but to pay a buyout clause of 20 million euros to sign him on a permanent basis. There are many reasons that may prevent a footballer from playing his football in a new team. It may be the tactics and many adaptation issues, so a player sometimes needs a different coach or a different club to rediscover his best form. Dear friends, which one of our list impressed you the most? Let us know in the comments, we're looking forward to reading them. See you soon!